Hi guys, my name is Kamila and I'm getting baptized today. So to get started, I wanted to share a verse, Genesis 50:20, and it says, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." And looking back at my story and what God has done, that verse really came to life for me. So when I was younger, my family went to church and I couldn't really grasp the concept of God or what a relationship with Him would be like, but what I could find value in was the impact God made in my family. Now fast forward a couple years and to my preteen, teenage years, and little by little, I feel like that impact kind of became less and less. Life got busy and we moved, so we no longer went to that church anymore. And honestly, I felt like I had everything I needed. And so I just really didn't care about, thinking about God or going to church or anything like that. I had a beautiful home. I had everything I wanted at school, the clothes I wanted to wear, and just all things attention from boys, attention from friends. And I was really just consumed with myself. And at this time, I didn't really have any problems and I had everything I wanted, but for some reason, I was the least happiest I've ever been in my life. And now I know it was because I had a God-sized hole in my heart that I tried to fill with everything but Jesus. It wasn't until high school where I kind of felt like my world was falling apart. I was 15 when my mom's battle with mental health and addiction started, and that snowballed into some serious financial issues for my family. And not only that, but then I was diagnosed with a disorder that really affects your hormones and your appearance. So basically, I could no longer find identity in the fleeting things of vanity, and I started becoming a slave to the fear of what's gonna happen to my mom. I remember the first time I actually talked to God. It was the night that my dad had a conversation with me and my older brother, and he kind of led us into the adult struggles that he did such an amazing job at protecting us from for so long. I think it was the Lord's timing that at this point I was able to be let into those problems. But my dad let us into those problems, and then I just went to my room, and that was the first time I actually talked to God, like He could hear me. And I remember the exact prayer. It was nothing special. It was just, "God, where are you? And God, if you're real, we really need you right now." And the reason I decided to pray that night was because I remembered the impact that He made on my family before when He was in our lives. So that was the only thing I knew to resort to. And shortly after, God's timing is perfect, and I attended a winter weekend retreat. And at this winter weekend retreat, the message was about no longer being slaves to fear. And that was when I realized that I was a slave to all the fears and the worries in my life that I was carrying that I didn't need to carry because Jesus wanted to carry them for me. And I realized that Jesus wants to walk through life with me and hold my hand through all of the hard times. So honestly, fear lost its power because when you really know Jesus, you trust Jesus. And when you trust Jesus, you realize that death even loses its sting because you know the hope of salvation. And that honestly brought so much freedom to my life. So that day, when I accepted Jesus as my Savior, I accepted the freedom and the gift that it is to know Him. Knowing God did not fix all my problems. Honestly, the circumstances didn't get better, but my joy was better. I have so much more joy now than I did before because now I know Jesus. And just to bring you back to that verse, that what the enemy meant for evil, God used for good, because all the trials, that is what led me to know the Lord. And now God is the one who fills that God-sized hole in my heart. And God is the one who gives me this unshakable identity in being a daughter of the King. And He is the one who carries the weight of all of my fears. So the gift isn't a good life, but the gift is knowing a good God. And I want to get baptized today because of the freedom that Jesus gave me when I surrendered my life to Him.